The best bloodlines. From the American Pitbull Terrier. Part 1. BULLYSON and ELI Jr.
See how these two legends came to be. Jerry Clemens made it his bitch to spook. He bought Spook from Mr. Floyd Boudreaux. He crossed the Spook with the two-time winner, the ELI. In this mating, first-class puppies were born. BULLYSON, Lady, Brandy, and ELI Jr. were born. These pit bulls are from the legendary BOUDREAUX. In the pedigree of BULLYSON and ELI Jr., Blind Billy appears 9 times in the first 6 generations. Blind Billy is the son of BOUDREAUX, and not many people are curious about his life. Blind Billy was a blind dog that Mr. Floyd Boudreaux bought to obtain BOUDREAux descendants. It was very difficult to obtain a descendant of the BOUDREAux dog. But Blind Billy, it was in a good space, and with a great creator. Blind Billy showed incredible aggression. After a conversation with Earl Tudor, Floyd decided to test Billy. To the surprise of everyone present, Billy fought very well. He won so easily that another dog was immediately brought in. But Billy beat him, and he still wanted more. After the first test, Mr. Boudreaux decided to schedule a fight, despite Billy's disadvantage. Billy won the first fight in 29 minutes. He showed himself to be a great fighter, with a strong bite, and good fighting qualities. Blind Billy won his second fight in half an hour. After a while, he went to fight to get the title of champion. There was discord between Boudreaux and his opponent. The opponent demanded that in the scratch, the dog should bite the opponent in up to 10 seconds. And Boudreaux and his entourage insisted that it be determined that the dog should leave the corner with a time of 3 seconds. That, due to Blind Billy's disability, it would not be necessary to contact Blind Billy. And that's why we're talking about that too. In the end, Boudreaux ended up agreeing with his opponent's conditions, and the fight took place. Mr. Boudreaux understood that the opponent wanted to win in a dirty way against Blind Billy. The fight lasted almost 2 hours. During the match, Billy's opponent preferred to bite him in the head. For that reason, Billy got a bruised nose. Billy was getting choked up with a stuffy nose. But even so, he managed to scratch twice, successfully. And on the third scratch, Billy wandered around the ring, looking for his enemy, but he didn't find him in 10 seconds. And he was declared as the defeated one. There wasn't one in the audience who didn't cry for the famous Billy. Among the audience, there wasn't one that didn't leave at least one tear for the famous Blind Billy. ELI Jr. fought twice. And he won both, at the weight of 23 kilos. He was a dog who liked to bite his opponent's hind leg. He had a powerful bite and great fighting ability. He won both fights before an hour. After the second win, he was sold. The owner did not want to continue his career as a fighter. So, he retired the ELI Jr. for breeding, and it was very successful. BULLYSON was created by Jerry Clemens of Caldwell, Texas. When he was already an adult, he was sold to Bobby Hall and H. L. Palumbo. BULLYSON was suspicious of people, which is rare in a pit bull. But Bobby Hall believed in his lineage. And he knew that, with a job, he would become a great fighter. and he believed in it too, as a producer. After the test, the BULLYSON delighted its owners. Bobby Hall and H.L. Palumbo entered into negotiations to define the first fight of BULLYSON. The fight was scheduled in the 23 kilograms category against Red Bud. BULLYSON was extremely strong. He fought with poise and with a powerful bite. From the start, he attacked in a menacing way. He entered the fight with style. He attacked the shoulders and the paws above the knee. His attacks were increasingly successful, and Red Bud was defeated at 22 minutes. And without conditions to fight more. I will list some famous descendants of ELI Jr.
The great champion, Art Rom. C. Hurt, of Crenshaw. Stomp Jr., from B.O.B. Hall, one-time winner. Clayton's Catfish, once winner. Patty from Devon. Glover Stevenson's 0-0, which is a one-time winner, one loss. Wood's Problem, which is a one-time winner. Nicety, once a winner, and once a defeat. Black Glow, by Maurice Carver, twice winner. Orphan Annie 3, by Maurice Carver. Pilgrim's ELITRS, once a winner. The strong bite, fighting ability, and speed. These are the main characteristics of this lineage.
The BULLYSON.
Spectators were in awe of BULLYSON's poise and incredible maneuvers. After that victory, a problem arose to schedule his next fight. The Texan, E.D. Weaver, had a two-fight winner, but he was heavier than BULLYSON. Bobby Hall and H.L. Palumbo sold BULLYSON. It was sold to a wealthy Texas businessman, Red Walling. Walling was inexperienced in dog fighting. And without thinking, he accepted the fight against Sir Weaver's dog SIR. The fight was in the 24 kilograms category. Mr. Weaver's dog SIR won 2 battles. He was a proven dog. The victories were extremely important against experienced dogs, and in style. The SIR was a specialist. He assumed the position, and always keeping a distance from the opponent. How important the fight would be. Walling hired one of the best breeders and trainers, Maurice Carver, for driving and training the BULLYSON. The battle aroused great interest across America. Almost all the great creators were present. Among them were those who wanted the defeat of BULLYSON and Carver. The fight started. In the first attack, SIR held BULLYSON. He grabbed it by the ear and kept it at arm's length. BULLYSON tried to get out of the bite, SIR. He would push SIR into the corners and try to pin him against the ring. The SIR maneuvered and managed to keep the BULLYSON away for 5 minutes. After the 5 minutes, the BULLYSON got rid of the bite. Then, BULLYSON went on the attack, unstoppable. He attacked SIR for 12 minutes. Weaver collected SIR from the ring. At 17 minutes. How BULLYSON fought against SIR, in that period of 12 minutes, it cannot be described in words. But Danny Burton's opinion says it all. He said the following sentence, "This is not a dog, this is a beast." After that fight, Maurice Carver. He mated BULLYSON in his best bitch, and was successful with a litter. In the litter, all were born big, strong, and were highly valued. Before going to his third fight, BULLYSON produced a few more dogs. And they stood out, mainly for their courage and speed. One of them was called Bob. Time passed, and the BULLYSON continued to be used as a player. And his son, Bob, gained fame as a great fighter. Bob won an incredible fight. He fought against a dog, twice victorious. And he showed a lot of skill in that fight. The comments started pouring in. The subject was, could Bob be better and stronger than his own father? Then Maurice Carver began to think about a possible fight between BULLYSON and his son. BULLYSON was already 7 years old. Bob was 3 years old. Bob was considered a dangerous fighter. In the test, he killed a dog, experienced. Several discussions took place about this fight of a father against his own son. And to everyone's surprise, Maurice Carver agreed to the fight. The fight was scheduled in the category of 24 kilos and a half. But BULLYSON was 3.5 pounds underweight. Maurice Carver trusted that regardless of his age and his weight, BULLYSON would win. And at the same time, he wanted to prove that BULLYSON could still fight. The fight was more than exciting, with several strong, effective bites. The fight was balanced until the 30 minutes. Then the dogs started hurting each other. Bob was breathing better, but he was no less injured than BULLYSON. With a clear fighting advantage, mainly through breathing. And after 40 minutes of fighting, Bob won mainly through heat, as younger dogs tolerate it better. Exactly at 43 minutes, BULLYSON was defeated. Right from the start, the opinions have already started. Some said that it was normal for a son to surpass his father. Others started calling BULLYSON Athila, which is a dog that has lost the will to fight. Since I heard several opinions related to defeat from BULLYSON, we will quote a letter sent to the newspaper, Sporting Dog. The letter was sent by the famous creator, Indian Sony. In the first place, he noted that he had no dogs of the BULLYSON's lineage, and that he was an impartial witness to the event.
Did BULLYSON surrender? Sporting Dog Journal. December 1990.
20 years ago, a big discussion arose. BULLYSON surrendered, or didn't surrender, to his son, Bob. Many creators have their opinion, and their version. And they were all placed in the newspaper by Sporting Dog. But, I want to establish the truth, and leave my opinion. First of all, Mr. Walling is said to own the dog. What I do know is that Mr. P.G. Walling was a successful businessman. He was a good friend of Bobby Hall. Walling has never been involved in bulldog breeding. And he had nothing to do with the school which was made in BULLYSON. BULLYSON should be named after other people who were more deserving. And on the contrary, BULLYSON carries the name of a person which is small for him, which has no connection with his upbringing, nor with his education. Everyone who was really involved in the creation of BULLYSON took a back seat. Without a doubt, BULLYSON is a dog owned by Mr. Floyd Boudreaux, who is known and born in his kennel. Jerry Clemens played an important role in BULLYSON's school. Maurice Carver used Bullison's blood the most. All pit bulls, from Maurice Carver, have 50% to 75% from the blood, from Bullison, and from ELI Jr., in their pedigree. And other dogs, BOUDREAUX. I'm not belittling the quality of the dogs, Maurice Carver, and Bobby Hall. But this is a fact. Mr. Bobby Hall did some work with Bullison. In a short time, he gained prestige, and benefited from it. However, he invested little in it. Maurice Carver used him to the best of his ability. He mated Bullison, with blood, from his best breeders. And they were born excellent litters. However, the truth is only one: Bullison is a BOUDREAUX dog. Floyd BOUDREAUX was upset with all creators. Because everyone used it more from Bullison than he did. And not even the name BOUDREAUX does he carry. If Bullison's fight against Benny Bob wasn't led by Maurice Carver, there wouldn't be so many articles about this defeat. The question should be put like this. I believe Bullison is a fighting dog. The fight was attended by 300 to 400 people. And everyone saw that Bullison was out of breath. Benny Bob was bigger and heavier. He was younger, and therefore stronger, both physically and mentally. The fight was won, with great energy. The Bullison stopped after a brave fight. And needless to say, Maurice Carver wasn't even a fool. Just go by logic. A breeder, with so much authority, and well known, would not mate 10 to 15 times with a bad male. Or allow the dog without conditions to participate in the fight. Before the fight, Walling offered 5 against 1. That is, $1,000 against $200, but nobody accepted it. Benny Bob, on the other hand, was in the field of a strong competitor, Maurice Carver. All things considered, Maurice Carver would never make a rookie mistake. Mainly, for a dog of that caliber, losing. Myself, I was in a corner of the match. Bullison was 30 centimeters away from me when he ran out of air. He was so exhausted, to the point where he couldn't go on. And that proves that Bullison is not a Gameness dog. And that just proves that nobody is perfect. If Bullison was driven by another man than Maurice Carver, nobody would have claimed that he was a jucal. Whereas before, he showed a good disposition to fight. You can always lose. I'm sure Maurice Carver understood this too. In my opinion, Maurice Carver had no right to release Bullison for this fight. Because Bullison was already popular, and it didn't need more popularity. And if he had won, he wouldn't have been any more popular than he already was. Maurice Carver went to this fight for one reason. It was said that Benny Bob was invincible, and Maurice Carver wanted to prove that Bullison was better. Anyway, the Carver risked. Because if Bullison won, he would be considered invincible, but now, he is being labeled a coward. Mr. Bennett Clayton sent me 2 males, son of Bullison, with the female, Eva Handina. The blood base is BOUDREAUX with Clemens brandy. One was called Crazy. This was the best pit bull I ever had in a fight. The second one was called BGE. I left him a long time in the test with the second pit bull, which I bought from Maurice Carver. For not a moment did he think about backing off. When I took BGE out of the ring, his legs were wobbly, but his head was towards the ring, looking for his enemy. They are pitbull. I don't keep dogs, of the BULLYSON lineage, and would have no reason to be false. Sony.
Benny Bob lost the next fight to the legendary Jimmy Boots. Jimmy Boots became famous after this victory. The fight lasted 2 hours and 4 minutes. List of BULLYSON's most notable descendants.
The Bitch, Honey Bunch, Rom. Benny Bob, from Hadleburton, 2 times winner, 1 loss. Bobby Hulls BULLYSON Jr., a 4-time winner, 1 loss. Jeremias, from Holt, a 2-time winner. The Buster Rom, Bilo Posey. Chivo C. De Davis. TX, from Hudson, twice winner, and once defeat. White Cell Stomper, once a winner. Sandy Sargent from Hyde. The Piggy, by Davis. The Sculptor's Cleta. The Golden Nugget, by Quinn. The Tank, once victorious. The Blue Boy, once a winner, and once a defeat. Davis Midnight Cowboy, 3-time winner. The Champion, Artie, from Remsey, with 4 wins.
My name is Rodolpho Luiz, and I invite everyone to enjoy the knowledge of this wonderful breed. Subscribe so you don't miss the next video. God bless you all. I went.